Good. You're alive.
My dad, what are you doing?
Don't speak. Listen. My name is General Krieg. You've survived your first true battle and proven yourself worthy of your Viltrumite heritage.
Go fuck it.
Your father will be executed, and you will return to Earth. You will assume his mission and prepare the planet for our rule. I know this may not appeal to you, given your sympathies. So I'll put it like this. You can kill a few humans to convince them to capitulate, or we will kill millions if we arrive to find you or your planet still defiant against us. We will check on your progress soon. And unlike your father, we do not change our minds. Good luck on your mission.
Welcome again, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Continuing from our last recording with Geri Capizito from Sound Bath channel. We are continuing our project here and our talking about the points we were bringing to the table, trying to complete the whole picture for you so you can see all the dots and you can connect all of them. So you won't fall for any other trap. But first, I want to ask Geri, how are you, Geri? And do you have anything you want to say before we start?
I'll be honest with you, Anil. I am not well. I have wept bitterly over the past few days because I realized the level of privilege I have grown up with living in America. Having met you, having met other people in the natural law truther community from Israel, having met people, actual, North Korean refugees that have escaped, these experiences have brought to life things that I've been somewhat, admittedly, emotionally removed from. Of course, reading about things, seeing videos and video clips of things. Of course, I have concerns. Of course, I get, I've been donating to causes and getting involved in causes, but it's another experience to actually meet people, befriend them, care for them in person, and then realize, wow, like we are funding these wars. You want to be against these wars? You want to be against this genocide? Like, stop paying your taxes. And I feel so bad that, like, I used to be a taxpayer. I used to be, one of these quote unquote hypocrites that, oh yeah, I'm against war, but then I'm funding it. I'm against Epstein. I'm against child sex trafficking, but I was funding it. How wrong I was and how guilty I feel for not activating earlier in my life. And then just seeing, like, the level of care that I've developed recently, of course, but in general, I think people just need to meet people more and especially in person if possible, because it's become personal for me.
Thanks a lot for that. That's a very needed point for all the Westerners out there. And yeah, as you said, once you meet these people in real life, once you hear them talking about their experiences, it's not just news anymore. It's not just reading about it from a book that was published 8 years ago or something. It's real. It is real. And that's what people don't get. People think they are shielded. People think they have time. People think just because they are living on another continent, things are not gonna get to them somehow. So building on that, I'm gonna start with this first point, which is the privilege of the people in the West. Why, with all the privilege in the West, with all the niceties in our modern life, people still are not willing to do the great work, to do something for the truth? Even before that, at least to look at themselves. Why are they suffering? We know the West is not a paradise. They have a lot of problems, but compared to all the world, all other countries, all other plantations, if you want to be honest with yourself, people, they have the best lives. And yet that, people think every day, like, if I had money, I would be thinking more about life. I would be considering other things, because when you try to approach them to think about others and care about things that don't benefit them immediately, they say, I don't have time, I don't care, I have my problems. So life was like, okay, I'm gonna bring you the privilege of the West, and we'll see then if you continue with your ideas. But people are not doing that. The moment they are being fucking living in all the privilege, having all the niceties in life, they are going back on themselves. They are going back on their words. They are lying to themselves again. They're not trying to say, okay, now I have all of these niceties. Let's start to look at the world. Let's start to look at others. Why they're suffering? Why do we have our problems in the West? So, with all of that being said, I want to hear your take on this.
Yeah, no, I don't know how to activate people. I have had conversations with you about this offline, but it had to take immense personal suffering for me to wake up. And as I developed an understanding that in my personal life, how satanic humanity has become, because I do think that we have the potential to change. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this with you. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing the One Great Work in general. But it had to take me, for example, miscarrying as a mother to look into, wow, like abortion's really evil if you look at how it's done. It's horrific. If you look at, okay, well, my current child custody case, I named the Black Robe Society involved in my case, the Kanarkaris Inn of Court. It's a nationwide family law court system where judges and lawyers decide cases. Courts are the theater, and the plays are written in these clubs. After naming my local coven, I won't go into detail, but I've been targeted and I've had to personally suffer because of that. And I am now meeting, more and more truth tellers in person, feeling their emotions because I am an empathetic person. And now I'm broadening my care through this suffering experience, and I don't know how else to activate people other than, I've been holding back. I literally meditate every time. I meditated before this podcast because otherwise, I won't be able to even articulate anything because it's just so overwhelming, the suffering that's happening in the world and in humanity. It's just, I wouldn't even be able to get my words out. I've had to kind of disconnect from our community, the natural law community, because of all the people in humanity that have the opportunity to stand up and say no to this evil, they're the worst. Because they're aware to a certain degree of this knowledge. They're aware of the need to podcast. They're usually in the West. They're speaking English, They can activate others. And they do nothing. The vast majority of them. I'm like, I don't even want to fucking talk to you people. I don't even want to associate with you people. You are the worst. You have the potential to speak out and you don't? Why? Because you're afraid of being online? Because you're afraid of putting yourself out there? Because you're afraid of not paying taxes? Because the tax people might get after you. So fucking what?
Exactly. I want to add something. The fear they have about safety. You're never safe. A comet can be coming right now towards us. What would you say to creation after that? Well, I thought I have time. No, you never had any time. Children are being born, and then 2 days after that, they're dying. You'll never have the great time or the right time to start something. The right time is now. And I understand. I'm speaking up to the Westerns. I'm not speaking to someone in Sudan, barely having fucking water, to tell them, yeah, you never have a great time or right time to start. No, first you need to get the water, of course. But in the West, you don't have that. You don't have that. And you see people not willing to do anything. I mean, you see, to change the view of this work that, what we do here, you don't need to be exactly, knowing exactly what Marx know, what I know, what you know. No, you don't need to be that level. Ultimately, you need to do that work because this is a soul work. People think we're getting knowledge here because we have nothing else to do because we're bored. No. I used to play competitive football, soccer for you Americans, and I love to do that more than anything, perhaps. But I'm not doing that because I know with the time that I was given, I need to get as much knowledge as possible. And where is the opportunity for that? The internet. I was born in Israel, which is the closest thing to Western country, not being in the West. And I used it hundreds of hours, thousands of hours since my childhood. I've done that. People would look at me and laugh. What are you doing? Why you don't come play with us? This, that. You're wasting your time. In my family eyes, all the people that knew me thought I'm fucking a conspiracy nut. I was fucking mad. Now, no one is saying that. But at the same time, because their fucking ego is so big, they don't want to talk to me and say you were right. They are just like thinking they're going to be shielded in the fucking shade. Anil is not going to look at them and tell them in their fucking eyes, hey, I've been telling you about these things for 10 years, you dumb fucks. Where are you now? Then they say, I don't want to talk about that. Sure. Stay like this. So if the Western people would actually do 10% of the work that we're doing here, just stand up to say, I'm not gonna follow orders from, even if you don't want, if you are too afraid to not pay taxes, to not do this or that, at least stand for anarchy with the fucking people. I'm not asking people to be on the fucking vanguard. That not all the people have the same fucking balls as you and me and others in this movement, but at least you can stand with a fucking crowd. And that will amount to something. That will add something. And they're not, they have phones, they have internet everywhere. They can just open the fucking their phone and drop a picture, drop something, anything, a small video saying, I'm questioning the authority idea, man-made authority, perhaps it was wrong. You can do these small things. And the fucking opposition, the occult will notice that. And then they will start perhaps taking it lightly on us. Perhaps they won't push the agenda as much. Perhaps they will say, perhaps we shouldn't start another war because we won't have full support. Perhaps other people from other countries will start seeing you and asking, wow, we were fed this idea about Americans or the Westerners. Perhaps not. Perhaps that was a lie. Perhaps they are just humans, just like us, being brainwashed. Because we know ultimately how they play the fucking game. They don't need to get both sides radicalized into any idea. They need to get one side, as I explained before. It's the triangle. The base is the occult. The two sides of the triangle are you and the other people. They are going to fucking set against each other. So if you speak out, if you let those other people, they are being prepared to go against you, that we're not like this. These people will stop from their own places. to follow these fucking radicalized ideas. I mean, look at the war with the war now in Iran, Israel. Look at this. The Jew, it's as I said before, it's the Jews and Muslims, it's not Israelis and Iranians. The Jews never started this since the creation of the plantation called Israel. They never started something. They always were the side that defended themselves, whether people want to hear this or not. Not because I'm Israeli, I'm defending them. Fuck both sides. I could care less about them. I care about the truth movement, not the plantation movements that they gave you just 200 years ago. And you know, notice now in the first like 12 days war, the Iranians didn't do anything, but now they are doing because they saw the Israelis. Because of the fucking internet. That's why the regime there needed to stop, you know, to cut off the internet completely. Because they are being less radicalized towards Israelis, and that won't serve the fucking regime. And what's the game in Israel? What's the plan in Israel? Netanyahu can't, and you know, the ruling class there can't come up and say we need to advance, we need to take the lands, you know, other lands, you know, because Israelis are not like that. Israelis are more like Western people. They don't want to invade, they don't want to do any of these things. But once the fucking other side is so stupid to fall for the fucking trap, Israelis will say, okay, we will defeat you and we will take your land. And that's what happened since 1948. Israel, you know, they show you these maps about Israel, and Israel is invading the West Bank and taking more land from the West Bank. It wasn't like that. It was a war started from the other side, which is the Palestinians, which is the Muslims, and losing. So Israel take that land. They lose again. Israel take that land. That was what's been going on since that day, and even before. Because people say the Mossad. Who created the fucking Mossad? It's the MI6, it's the British monarchy, and it's not the British monarchy. These people are not British. These are Black Venetians, the Orange dynasty. I mean, it's so obvious, but no, because they want to latch on the fucking you know, idea. It's the Jews, it's the Jews. Just because you don't want to see that others are humans. And we talk to the Westerns because you have a privilege. You're not, again, like Sudan or North Korea. You have the privilege to see the truth, but you're not doing it, unfortunately. So yeah, it's going to the shitter if people don't want to wake up, and you know, especially from the so-called truth movement, and a lot of people from the so-called truth movement are failing for this shit. You know, we're seeing it, Geri. What they are speaking about, you know, the things they are following, and you know, the videos they are sharing, we're seeing it. They are falling for this shit again. So, what do you think? What's gonna be the thing for at least the truth movement to wake up to this level?
I think people need to understand, and I love everything that you're saying, and just to add to it, people need to understand that the satanic ritual abuse is not just for the controlling class, the parasite class, to continue controlling. We're all in a satanic ritual. We're all given a satanic ultimatum. And the truth movement, quote unquote, which I don't see it as a movement. It's not, we're not where we need to be in terms of waking people up. If the satanic ultimatum before Westerners is care or be comfortable, and they choose comfort, they choose, okay, well, I don't want to stick out. They choose, I don't like what's happening with the wars, with the child sex trafficking, with all this, you know, corruption. I mean, although my personal situation is just everyday regular child trafficking, you know, it's just like people need to start really suffering for them to see, okay, well, I got to stop doing this choice because this is all a choice people are making. If we all collectively stopped paying taxes, there would be no wars for them to, you know, we're funding this. Like people, everyday people listening need to stop doing the evil things that they're doing for their own personal quote-unquote comfort. That's the satanic ritual that we're all in the West. People need to get comfortable with the idea that comfort isn't the fucking point, that they're being controlled with their house slavery. Oh, well, if I, if I don't want to get rid of my house, I don't want to get rid of my, whatever, like, creature comforts. It's like, really? You'll give up truth and humanity suffering for a couch to sit on? Like, you're a piece of shit. Like, you deserve this. Hell. You fucking deserve this.
I want to add something to what you said here. Just, when they claim we care, we don't like it like this, but yeah, I choose my comfort, they're lying. You don't care. Because what is care? Care is something that you want to change. I care about that child not being fucking child trafficked. I'm gonna try to do something. If you say, I don't like it, but I'm not gonna do anything, you like it. You fucking like it. Because ultimately, inside of your fucking heart, your fucking black heart, you're saying, it's not raining on my house, so yeah, I'll claim I care just to be accepted as a good human being and not to be seen as a fucking Nazi, but I'm not gonna do anything. Let's be honest. And that's why you're evil. Because care in the words isn't fucking enough. It amounts to nothing. You need to do action. You need to be in a fucking front line doing something. As I said, you have no fucking time. And they're not listening. They're not listening, Geri. I mean, they're just even this, as you said, the everyday Nazism they have, everyday Satanism. This is the point. This is what they need to change ultimately in order to see the whole thing. In order to develop courage. You see, as Mark says, and this, I love this a lot. Mark says, courage is like a muscle. Care is like a muscle. You need to train yourself. You need to train yourself to have courage, to do something. And they're not doing that. Ultimately, as you said, they prefer their couch, their car. And what happens when the next fucking financial collapse comes? What happens? They think they're gonna keep it, but we know what happens, and they know what happens. They lose everything again, again, again. But now, because you didn't do the thinking when you had the time, when you had the privilege to not be stressed out about, survival mode, now it's gonna be different. You really think, people, your fucking children, that you're going to think about the great problems of humanity from a philosophical point of view, why you have no food on your table, why your fucking stomach is telling you I need food? You're not going to be thinking about that. You're going to be thinking about survival. And that's why you deserve, as Geri said, you deserve what's happening to you. And everything that's happening to your children. You deserve that. Humanity deserves what it gets and will get what it deserves, whether you like it or not, children. Continue, Jill.
Yes. I've been networking with the local transcendental meditation community here in Florida that I'm in, and we had a sort of discussion, because a lot of people in the transcendental meditation community are children, just like any other aspect of the movement, just any other aspect of, spiritual movements in general. They're mostly consisting of children. And what I mean by that is they fall into the divide and conquer. They fall into mainstream narratives of, like, I had mentioned to some community members that I had visited Israel recently, and they're like, well, we don't talk about politics, but stupidity. And I looked at him and I said, wow, I just couldn't. People aren't doing the shadow work. They're not looking at themselves in the mirror and realizing that they're the ones that are stupid. They're the ones that are ignorant. Anyway, so I was really glad to see my teacher talk about karma. I once told him, yeah, so I'm part of this movement of people trying to teach humanity karma. And he laughed. He said, good luck with that. Which made me actually appreciate working with him, because at least he saw the task that we're doing, the immensity of it. But anyway, so he was saying, with recent events, people can want peace, but it's not a matter of want. It's a matter of deserving. You can want all day. That's an intention. That's a thought. But do you deserve it? You have to take action. That is, if you're thinking, oh, I want peace. Oh, I want a better world. Oh, I want. No, you have to deserve it. You have to earn it. You have to act it out. And that's what people are unwilling to do.
Exactly. They just wanna, they are trying to have the cake and eat the cake. And it's 2026. It doesn't work like this. I mean, whether it's 2026, 5,201 fucking shit, I don't care. It's gonna stay the same. You want something, you need to work for it. Which means sacrifice is needed. And I want to say something about the guy that you're working with, the new Asian guy. Even these people, we know they don't know natural law, we know they're not there, but I want to bring this point now, the next point. Even these people can see it without us. They don't need Geri, they don't need Anil, they don't need Mark to tell them that. From their everyday life, they can see the truth, but they don't want to see it. So my next question that I want you to talk about is how people can arrive at the truth from their everyday life as a slave through, work, interactions with people, everyday life. How can they arrive at this, natural truth, natural law, the voice in humans, the voice of nature in us? What do they need to do to arrive at this, to listen to it?
Fortunately, unfortunately, it takes, the first step is inner work, I would say. And I know you made this commitment within yourself. I made this commitment within myself. I looked at myself in the mirror physically and I said, I'm not going to lie to myself. And from there, you start seeing how hard it is, how much one lies to oneself for a sense of personal ego gratification. I've lied to myself my whole life. And when I realized that I was patting myself on the back for working for a public school, sure, okay, I lied to myself and I said, well, I'm just helping people with special needs, and I'm a good person in an evil system. No, I was bringing the kids back to their classrooms. I am not liberating anyone as a prison librarian. It may feel good in the moment, but I'm not actually liberating those kids. I needed to be honest with myself to the point where I was realizing I'm a piece of shit. That's the level people need to get to. They need to really see I'm a piece of shit for paying taxes. I'm a fucking hypocrite for paying for the wars that I say I'm against. I'm a fucking piece of shit for funding people like Epstein and all these other satanic pedophiles. I'm funding that. I'm part of the problem. I haven't been activated. I haven't been working towards awakening others. I'm a piece of shit because I'm allowing my stupid insecurities from my childhood get in the way of putting my face on camera or out there. The whole reason why I'm not even doing this on camera is because I'm on the run from my local coven. I'm doing this on my phone. Like, I would love, I've done on camera work and stuff, but I'm just saying, like, people need to they need to align in their thoughts, emotions, and actions. If you feel in your heart that you are a hypocrite, do something about it. Change your fucking behavior. You see in your heart that you're a piece of shit. Fucking change it. You can do that. That's it.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. We don't need to go through all of these fucking difficulties in our lives and suffering to arrive at nature. We don't need that. I give this example every time. To arrive at nature, you just need to stop Satanism. What is Satanism? It's not acting with nature. So literally, from the words, to arrive at natural law, you need to stop to go against natural law. Stop going against it. The light is coming. The light is nature. It's coming from a sun. You have nothing to do with it. It's coming, whether you're here or not. If you want it, stop fucking making an obstacle in front of it, whether it's your body, you're parking your car in front of the light. Stop it. Let it go through. Observe it. This is natural law. There is nothing new under the sun. We don't bring anything new. No one, whether it's Epstein files, taxes, theft, all of it. Nothing is new. The whole system is so ancient. In fact, those people, the elites, so-called elites, they are elites of the fucking trash bin of this fucking trash bin earth. They don't have a name for it other than it's the ancient way. The old way. That's what they call their fucking way. We call it Satanism, we call it this and that, but that's what they say. They know this earth never had any other fucking system on it other than Satanism. And I want to add something here. I get this question: how can I, a normal slave, how can I see the light like you? I don't want to do the readings. I don't, I don't care. But I want to know, which is stupid to say that. But I give them examples. Let's say you are working in whatever job. I'm gonna choose a job now. Let's say you're working in industry of making jet fighters. Okay, let's assume that. And you go to your job, you finished like your school, everything, your university, and you are so excited to go into this job and to help your country and create the best weapons so you can have competing markets and all of that. You're coming from the so-called good intentions. You start working there, after a certain time, you'll start understanding that there are secrets. If you wanted the truth, you would be going with these secrets. You would be asking, why do we have the secrets? I thought this is for all the Americans, or all the Israelis, or all the Iranians. Why do we have secrets? They will tell you it's a state secret. Now, if you truly love yourself, you wouldn't stop. You would continue asking questions. Because you're not a child. People can lie, right? People are not good. You hear the stories about serial killers. You have encountered these stories in your life where people lied about you, where people betrayed you. So ultimately, naturally, if you have 2 fucking brain cells, you would be doing the same. You say, okay, I don't know these people other than they are being colleagues, they work with me. I'm not gonna trust them. If you're truly honest with yourself. Now, to be that honest, you need to do the work. You need to say, okay, if I venture into this fucking path, I might lose my job, and this might happen to me, this and that. You need to be honest. You see, honesty is the first rule in initiation. It's the first rule in initiation. From there, you continue your fucking research, why you're not seeing these projects, why the so-called public are not knowing about these things, and soon enough, you'll arrive at these things are not meant for the public because they go against the interest of the public. Which means the whole system that I was told to believe in is a lie. So what's after that? Perhaps we have another lies in our life, you know. And from there, from these simple actions in everyone's life, you can arrive at natural law. You ask yourself, okay, I looked at American way, it's wrong. The European way, it's wrong. The Middle Eastern way is wrong. Okay, do we have any other way? Perhaps I should look at history. It's the same way. Okay, do we have something that's not man-made? Perhaps this is the answer, right? Perhaps it's not man-made. Perhaps, okay, let's look. Christianity is like Judaism, like Islam, like Buddhism. It's all fucking shit. Okay, do we have, this is man-made. Okay, do we have something like from nature, like from biology, from the human body? Can we look at ourselves and know something? Is there an order that puts our body, you know, in one cocktail, the stars? And you will find that there is something called the natural order of things. And that's all it takes. You don't need me, you don't need a fucking guru, you don't need anyone. If you were truly honest with oneself, with your fucking self, you would have been a natural law anarchist since day fucking one. But you are a piece of shit fucking liar. You don't love yourself. You don't love your children. You don't love your family. And ultimately, you don't love the truth. Because you can't love them without loving the truth. Agape love is first. It's always first if you want to love someone. And you don't have that. So that's why, as Geri said, you deserve all the suffering. Sure, it's happening in the Middle East now. But once they cut the fucking oil off, once they do all of these things, we'll see how your niceties will stand up to this. So, do you want to say anything, Geri?
Oh, I was just going to add, I love everything that you said. And just to add on, people need to also be honest with the fact that, and at least I did this in my own sort of life, it's like, we're the last cavalry. I'm not looking to a guru. I'm not following any human being or, you know, other being. I'm serving source. I'm serving truth. I'm serving natural law. I'm not serving any being. We have to build a sense of true inner monarchy within ourselves. It's up to me to make a difference here. I will ally, I will partner, I will work with whoever is at this level of understanding and knowledge and wants to do something about it. Absolutely. But I don't look up to anybody. If the goal is to end slavery, there shall be no slaves and no masters. We need more leaders. And the only way to do that is for people to see the leadership within themselves. I've had talks with people. People have come out to me. People like you that have been part of secret societies. The general populace is referred to as the sheep. Well, what do we do about that? We have shepherds. We have wolves. Wolves are narcissists that are still trying, that they have a sense of, you know, taking action, but they still are self-serving. And then you have the lions. We need to awaken the lion within every sheep and wolf. It's not about being king or queen over others for self-gain like the wolves. We need to do what's right. And we need to be fierce. We need to be vicious. And we need to truly within ourselves have that we're going to do the self-defense and as a lion be amongst other lions with care. We have the ability to be vicious. No one fucks with you. And we don't have to, you know, I would love to see a world where any pedophile that comes, we just shoot him in the face. Why can't we be there? Why can't we do that? We know who they are. Let's just shoot him in the fucking face and be done with it. People aren't there yet.
Right, right. This is an amazing topic that you just brought up. We're going to talk about this, but before, I want to say something you said. We need to have internal monarchy and external anarchy. If you're not the master of yourself, how are you going to respect other beings around you? How are you going to respect fucking nature? How? You can't, because you're not in control. A hormone can take you to do something. A fucking idea can take you to do something. A fucking desire can take you to do something. If you're not in control over your fucking self, and you're not holding yourself back whenever these fucking viruses coming to you, you're not gonna be a good fucking guy. You're going to be a fucking Satanist. What do you think? We talk about Satanism and the Satanists, rank and file Satanists and all of that, but they are not in control. The true ones in control, those are, we call them the Dark Luciferians. Those who truly understand the natural order of things, they just rejected it. They just hate it. They say, we know exactly how nature works. And we know that natural law is in existence. But we hate it because we are little children from the inside, and we hate that we can do whatever we want without having karma. That's the only reason they are Dark Luciferians, and that's why the only reason they are like this. But these people, just like Geri and me, they're just like us. They know how exactly it works, but they don't like it because their fucking ego is still strong. So I want to go to the next question is about the thing that you said, Geri, about why we're not vicious towards the fucking zombies, towards not just Epstein. Epstein, even the zombies can be vicious towards him. But no, we need to take it to another level. Why we're not vicious, fucking bloodthirsty against the fucking normal zombies we call family, we call friends, we call society, we call colleagues? Why we're not vicious against those fuckers? So I'd like to hear your point of view on this, Geri.
People need to be ready to end relationships with their family and friends that are not aligned. They need to draw the line in the sand. You have to, within yourself, draw the line in the sand for yourself. I will not do evil anymore. I will have my thoughts, emotions, and actions aligned. If I feel that there is a disconnect in my heart, I will take actions to make the thoughts, emotions, and actions aligned. And then when you get there, you are going to associate with people that are there or not. And I am seeing, even in our natural law community, I don't want to associate with a lot of you. I'm willing to cut off my normie friends. I'm willing to cut off my family. I'm willing to cut off you. You who are listening, if you don't fucking act right, fuck you. I'm not fucking working with you. I'm not fucking doing, I don't want to fucking, we're going to be at a point where if there's a civil war, I need to know that if I snipe for you, you're going to snipe for me. I don't trust you because you're weak, because you're afraid, because you want your comfort. Fuck you. That's what I say to you. You who are listening that have not acted, you're the worst. May you suffer because you deserve it. I don't want to associate with you. And you have to say that in your heart and to everyone that is not aligned. That's it.
Yeah, I'd like to add on that. I love everything you said. If you're not gonna snipe for me, I'm not gonna snipe for you. And I want to say something. usually in my conversations with people, I'm not afraid to bring circumstances and anecdote from my life. I'm not afraid. I'm not shy. I'm living. At a point in my life that I have no friends before knowing you, Jerry. Literally no one. If I die on the street, no one will know about me, and I don't care. I'm not feeling this, I just want people to know about me. I don't want to be forgotten. I don't give a shit about that. In fact, I'm planning it soon. Perhaps I'll have a fucking tattoo on my body that when I die, if anyone is cleaning my body and seeing that, don't fucking bury me with humans. Drop me in the ocean or under dirt in fucking forest somewhere. I don't want to be fucking doing anything with humans, even in my death. So as I said, no friends. I cut everyone off. I don't talk to my brother, my sister, my father, no one of my immediate family, my outer family, no one. Only my cousin reaches out to me sometimes because he is he knows conspiracies exist, but he's not willing to go into natural law because he's a doctor, so the ego is strong, and he's living for money and girls. That's his life, and he's 29. And my brother, I don't talk to him completely. Sure, he can reach out to me, but I don't talk to him. My sister is the same, and my father is the same. And my father, in fact, told me, don't come back if you want to continue to be like this. My mother is the only one who tries to talk to me, because she has this motherly love towards me. And I don't give a shit about any of them. They are all my fucking enemies. Listen to this, fucks. Children, listen to this. If you have anyone in your life that doesn't know, that doesn't understand natural law, he or she is your fucking enemy. And your job is to take out that enemy, or at least, if you didn't have the balls yet and you didn't develop them, to at least cut them off. Because humans, a lot of them won't change. A lot of them won't change their fucking ways unless they lose so-called precious people. So do that. Do that. Say, you know what? You consider me as someone like, you love me? Okay, I'm not gonna talk to you unless you fucking listen to what I'm saying, to try to fucking see what I'm showing you. And that's what it takes. You will be, alienated. You will be cast out. That's what it takes. I don't know if I'm gonna live, under a roof next month. I truly don't know. I did all of that. I was born in a plantation called Israel. I said, I'm not going to give it more tax after the beginning of the fucking 7th of October. And I did that, and I acted on that. And I'm out. And I know I could die on the street. I don't care. I don't care. We are at the last minute, you fucking children. There is no enough time to try to say, okay, the next war, the next event. This is the last event we have. It's like we are being on the Titanic for 4 days, and we've been telling people, hey, they are bombing it. Yeah, it was a false flag. The Titanic was a conspiracy. It didn't hit a fucking iceberg. So we're telling you, hey, they are bombing it. Yeah, we have bombs. Please wake up. And you did. At the last moment, when the fucking Titanic is completely underwater, you tell it, perhaps, yeah, the next time. There is no next time, you dumb fucks. And to do that to people, you need to be completely vicious. You need to shout at them. You need to spit in their fucking faces. You need to have fucking fights with them physically. And I've had that in my life. I fought with my fucking father, with my fucking brother, sister, and mother. All of them against me. I did it in their fucking faces. My father and brother, we physically fought. Literally. I don't give a shit. I give a shit about the truth, nothing more. Because if you don't, you think you have family, you think you have friends, you think you have nothing. Once you die, you have nothing. The only thing that you will have is the fucking truth. And you think like that because you think it's one life, one trip. No, reincarnation exists. You don't believe me? You don't need. Wait and you will see. Just wait. And this is what it takes. If you're not vicious, if you're not gonna, and when I say vicious, I'm not saying just like, shout at them. No, we need to. Mark speaks about having the psychopath as a tool, and he is completely right. And when I arrived at Mark's work, I was like so happy. I was saying like, finally someone feels what I feel. Finally someone understands what I understand. And that's why I love him so much, because he is completely for the truth, even if it means you're going to take their hearts out and feed them their own fucking hearts. If you're going to fucking do everything on the fucking table to win, you're not going to win. You either have this mentality of fucking everything on the table, literally yourself, your fucking niece and nephew, everything on the table to win. Other than that, you're not going to win. And Geri's a mom, and Geri is willing to do that, and Geri knows what it takes, and she doesn't give a shit. She's for the truth. So, yeah, go ahead, Geri.
Yeah, and I just want to just say, again, like, it's not about personal ego or following a guru. As much as I admire your work, other people's work, Mark's work, etc. Really, the spiritual battle is within. I treat this lifetime as my final incarnation. I treat this lifetime as a spiritual initiation, do or die. I show my life in alignment with objective morality or not. I view myself as being constantly monitored by source. And the greatest fear that I have is not dying in this lifetime. My greatest fear is that when my heart is weighed on the scales of Ma'at, that it will not be as light as a feather. That's where we need people to get. It's not about the Titanic falling, although that's a great analogy. It's, you will be judged for what you did in this lifetime. And that's the only fear that I have in my heart. Fear of judgment, moral judgment. That's the only fear, the real fear. That's what drives me. Not fear of self-preservation, not fear of fitting in, not fear of death. People need to get to that level. Fear of moral judgment from source.
Exactly, 100%. It's about whether the heart is going to be lighter than the feather or not. And, since you brought that analogy, I'm going to say something. The ancient Commission said, you better learn by Isis, while she's putting her right hand on your head, which is the emotions. You better learn by that, the nice way of learning. Otherwise, you're going to meet Ma'at. And Ma'at, you cannot run from Ma'at. Ma'at is coming for you, you fucking child. You cannot run from Ma'at, which is consequentialism after you did the fucking action. And then, most people are not going to be willing to do something in the trauma. This is the problem with trauma. We wish people to be traumatized enough to wake up, but the problem with trauma is that it takes some courage to at least face the trauma. How many people they said, I'm not going to face the trauma, I'm going to kill myself. And what happens? They die, they go into next reincarnation with a trauma, unresolved trauma. What happens? They continue the fucking cycle of fucking suffering. And that's why we're doing this. Because we know it's not in your best fucking interest to go that path. We're trying to be ISIS. We're trying to preserve your fucking souls. And you need to fight exactly and think exactly as Geri said. Don't think about reincarnation. Think about, this is my last, think about it as if it's your last life in creation. What I'm going to do. And only, there is a saying about ancient people. Why ancient people were they had more virtue in their life? Because they thought about death every day. Once you think about death, once you think that you have no time, you will start thinking, okay, if I'm gonna die tomorrow, just like if they tell you you have like cancer and you're going to die tomorrow, you would be thinking like, what is the most important thing to do? You're not going to be thinking about movies, about fucking sex, about all of these things. Although I know most of you are fucking so weak, you're going to think about these things. I just want to have fun. I just want to have fun. You fucking little children. Happiness is the way. Yeah, I continue to think like that. So usually, when people get this fucking idea, they would be like, I wanna do something good, you know, I wanna have a meaning. But because you don't think about death every day, you think like you are immune to that. You don't care. You think you have time. And ask everyone. You can read about stories from people having, you know, whatever the fuck they're saying at their death beds, you know, all that. They they say the same thing. I wish I knew that I didn't have time. I wish I was better. Not I wish I had more money. And, you know, as Jerry said, this is what it takes. It's a battle from within. We can guide you, we can help you in your journey, but if you're not willing to drink from the water, we cannot force you. And if you drink a little bit from the Berian Spring, you're doing yourself a this fucking service, a huge one. Because the most evil people are those who know there is something for natural law, and they don't go that way. A child's karma is different than a fucking adult who knows there is a natural law deep inside but is not willing to acknowledge it. So if you're willing to go in that path, if you're listening to this, go all the way. And yes, I'm talking to the fucking so-called truth movement. If you consider yourself a fucking anarchist, but you're not vegan, you're a fucking liar. You're a fucking liar. Do you want to add anything, Jerry?
Basically, I think that people just... I have put on a mask. I put on a mask of serenity, of sort of embodying the divine feminine, nurturing, right? And it's not working. Now, the reason why I made that choice was because I was seeing how when people are viciously honest and in their sort of more divine masculine, people stop listening. And so I'm like, well, maybe if I say it nicely. But as I've sort of observed and done this work, it doesn't matter how you say it. You can be vicious, you can be sweet. People don't want to be honest with themselves. They refuse to look at the mirror. And I'm just like, fuck it. I'm just going to be honest about you. You're a piece of shit. Fuck it. You're a piece of shit. You're my enemy. If you're not going to change your behavior, if you're going to continue acting immorally, if you're not going to do something about this evil that we've created collectively, then fuck it. Like I thought it was a matter of rhetoric. I tried a different method. I'm just going to be, and I'm so honored to speak with you today because I haven't been honest in my podcasts, in my work, because I thought that that's what humanity needed. Maybe a kinder, good cop, bad cop, if you will, to borrow from Western idiom. This idea that, oh, well, if I say it sweetly, oh, if I say it, no, it's just, we just got to be honest with people. And yeah, it's going to come out vicious because that's, at this point, we should have handled this yesterday. And it's getting worse and worse and worse, the level of suffering that we're creating. Yes. And it's like, I'm at a point where it's like, well, I'm just here to try my best. I'll try to teach as till I die. That's it.
Exactly. It's not about the way we used to tell people. It's, you can do it with a child who can't think for himself or herself, who still thinks like the loud sound is the bad sound. Yeah, you can do it with a child, the good cop and bad cop. But with adults, they're already so entrenched in ego that whether you do it nicely or not, they're not gonna listen. So why not be fucking brutal? And that's it. At least you will die telling natural law, I tried. I didn't hide anything. I tried to be completely honest. I mean, this is the thing. This is the good thing about being vicious and not wearing a mask, because you yourself will be at peace with yourself. Because Everyone who tried to be the good, nice guy, telling them they died knowing. I wish I was vicious towards them, because now I'm not at peace. I know I was, backing off, holding, my true intentions, my true ideas, my true voice to make them love this, but they will never love it by the way you speak it. It's about them whether they want to buy into the lie or not. Mark speaks about, and this is one of the best things that he said. I love it so much. He speaks about the clowns. Who are the real clowns? Yeah, Epstein and the Satanists. They are clowns because they are thrown under the bus because of the dark Luciferians. But if you want to know the real clowns, it's the normal fucking men and women in everyday society. That's the ultimate clown of this fucking circus. This is it. And I hope we're trying, all of us that are completely sincere about our efforts, trying to put the word by any means, not hiding behind any emotions, behind any mask. We're trying, and we hope for the better. That's all we can do, guys. It's up to you. So with all of that being said, I wanna, we're gonna continue on this point that I'm gonna read now, the next podcast, but I wanna at least, have something to be said about it. It's about, identity, with, when people identify with politics, with panels, with countries, with gender, with religion. All of these, it's the same thing. It's all a fucking lie. It's the same thing. It's just identity. It's like wearing blue tomorrow, and after that you're going to be wearing a fucking green, whatever. It's cloths. It's the same thing. Just different views. What is the thing that we truly need to do for them to see that? When you talk to Muslims, they say, every book is fucking manipulated but us. When you talk to the Christians, the same thing. When you talk to the fucking Jews, the same thing. What is the thing that we need to do, other than, just present the knowledge for them to see that all of them are the same? Jordan Maxwell has been showing that, he has been showing them, since what, the 40s, 50s, I don't know, 60s, that all of these religions are just, the same story. It's the same God, the same thing, and people don't want to see it. What's the thing that will make them see it, other than dark Luciferians coming out, and this is what I say, from people coming from societies. They know these things. When they come out and say, yeah, we created all of these things, and that's how we created them. Before that, can we get them to see these things, all these divisions, or not?
Right. So I think you're speaking to, and I'm so excited to work with you and a few others in our community that through interacting with them appear to actually understand the politics of identity, whether it's religion, as you said, whether it's race, whether it's gender. These are all psyops. You are not who a religion says you are. You are not who gender roles say you are. You are not who race says you are. These are all masks. When we truly are honest with ourselves, you are not any of those things. Yes, physically, externally, you may appear a certain way or be growing up in a certain culture, but the true beings that I choose to align with are those that see that we all have the capacity to hold the light or not. To be honest with ourselves within and so without or not. The light bearers. We all have the capacity and potential to be this. Some of us see it and some of us don't. That's the identity. That's my group. That's the true group. The people that stand for truth and the people that don't. And the dark Luciferians, dark occultists, they know this. And they distract. They tell us, oh, you're this. Oh, you're that. No. Although I will say this, I have noticed when it comes to the gender divide, as a woman, women need to do this work more. There are very few women that are public in the truth and freedom community. Now, I was very happy to see, for example, when I went to the People's Reset recently, there were a lot of women there, but they're not putting work out there. Why? Because they've been socialized to not to, because they've been socialized not to put themselves out there, because they've been socialized to, take a back seat. At this point, if women specifically don't work on themselves out of the psyop of the gender divide, we need numbers. We need numbers. We need people to do this work. And I think there's a reason why the gender divide specifically has been worked on so deeply in our society at large.
Yeah, 100%. The gender divide is one of the strongest in all of the humanity's history, one of the oldest. When you look at the ancient books, the ancient people, what they say, for example, I'll give this example about Zeus. Once Zeus and the pantheon of the Greek gods, they were discussing about how would they, divide the humans, because the humans were so close to them and they were afraid of the humans. They don't want to make the humans know their secrets, because the humans have the capacity to, to throw them out of the fucking seats and to rule themselves. So Zeus advocated for something. He said, what if we can make factions, females and males, and even within themselves, masculine and feminine? What if we can divide the beings? And that way they will go throughout all of their lives, wasting time on trying just to connect and not knowing how to, because we completely cut them off from nature's sound. And some of you would think this is just poetic, just mythology. No. Once you look at the fucking human body, the human mind, psychology, biology, epigenetics, that's true. That's history. Before mythology is being called mythology, it's called the people who lived before, they used to call it a story that happened like 50 years ago. That was their fucking normal day life. So once people need to look at history, people need to read, people are not, there was a study like between Middle Easterns and Japanese people, or Asians. Normally Asian people read like 80 books a year, and Middle Eastern read like 0.82 book a year, which is like less than 1%. And you may say like, wow, that's amazing. Look at the Japanese, look at the Asians, like all of the advancements. It's bullshit, because even whether they read or not, if they're not reading, they're not arriving at natural law. And if they are reading, but they're not reading the right books, they're not arriving at natural law. It's the same thing. So this is an example that shows how the occult works, that they don't need to hide things. They just need to make a divide and make you not able to see the truth. And this is works, it's the same fucking idea between genders, females and males. They are against each other and instead of working with each other. And it's between everyone, it's the whether should I be masculine in my life or should I be feminine? People need to understand that we have all of these things inside of us, as a feminine energy and a masculine energy, and you need to understand how to work with them. For example, if there's a lion attacking your child, you're not going to be feminine. You need to be 100% masculine. You need to be the defender. You need to fight back, to defend others, to defend those you love. This is a way of using masculine energy. But people don't know about these things. People don't know the basics about these things. And you see all this madness, if they feel like they are more masculine, they think, I'm a man trapped in a woman's body, or I'm a woman trapped in a man fucking body. No, it's just, that's inside of you. All of us, we have all of these things. I feel feminine at times, although because of my life circumstances, I'm mostly logical and masculine 100%. And a lot of people who sat with me, who lived with me, who knew me, they said you are the most vicious we ever seen. But it doesn't mean that I don't work with my feminine. I don't whenever I'm talking to someone, I'm completely hearing them, listening, thinking about that, which is feminine side. I'm not judging and pushing it back, which is the masculine. And eventually people need to get to that before they even get to the level of outer gender. This is the inner gender. We need, before you get to what males and females in society should be doing, first you need to work on yourself. You need to understand yourself, and that comes only from natural law. There are a lot of people, I can give names, that are doing a great job about dark masculinity, dark femininity, the poison, the poisons in all of those sides. But still, because they don't have natural law on their side, they are falling for fucking traps. Either they are pushing for wokeism, or they are pushing for fucking traditional conservatism, which is which is matriarchy or patriarchy. Ultimately there is no patriarchy, there is no matriarchy, there is occultocracy. That's what we have. We never had anything else. People think, if you look at the ancient gods, it's all women gods, so it must have been a matriarchy. Yeah, for the outer eye, yeah, it was matriarchy. But it wasn't ultimately a matriarchy. It was fucking occultocracy since day fucking one. Who was feeding the fucking female mind? Who? They were growing up suddenly knowing these things? No. And as Geri said, they target women because women have the ability to influence men. And there is a simple thing you can do as a woman. Close your legs. If you look at society, I'm a male, and I'm telling you what males want. Unfortunately, those the stupid males, they want sex and they want money. You can't just stop sex from them, deny them sex. You either look at natural law or not, and I'm not gonna be with you. And they will be forced to do that. And that's why if only one faction of humanity wakes up, whether it's a male or a female, the whole system will fall. Males cannot live without females, and females cannot live without males. They will destroy themselves. So we don't need everyone. We speak about that. We need just a faction of humans to be so brave to do the work. And others, either they will, fall off, or they will follow, and they will awaken themselves. And most people are fucking they're like cattle. They don't think for themselves. If the first sheep jumps, they will jump. They're not thinking. So those, as Geri said, those who know, those females that go into these meetings, they already know the truth. You should be putting the work out. Fuck everything in your life. And it's not just, gender, it's a lot of things. So, with countries, Geri, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm really excited about our panel discussions that are going to be coming up that we're doing. And I love everything you said. And just nearing the close of our conversation here, I think you spoke very deeply and well about it needs to start with the divine masculine and feminine principles within. The divine feminine principle of non-aggression, that we are not harming other sentient beings. We are not transgressing with murder, assault, rape, trespass, theft, coercion, and deception. And on the other side of that, the divine masculine within, that we will defend ourselves against these transgressions that are initiated. It is okay to use force against violence. And once that feminine, masculine principles are embodied and in union within, we can then have spiritual union between external male female dynamics that go beyond the psyops that we were told throughout our lives, throughout cultures, throughout religions, throughout history, so that we can embody these principles together.
100%, 100%. We will go all over that. The next podcast with the other people, it's gonna be I'm sure it's gonna be an amazing one. We're going to go over identities with politics, with genderism, with countries, with religions. They are all religions. This is what the meaning of the word religion. To stop you from seeing the truth. To bind you back. Everything that doesn't align with truth is a religion. Eating meat, that's a religion. I don't know, eating pencils, that's a religion. You cannot digest fucking pencils. That's a religion. Using salt, you need salt, that's a religion. No, you don't need salt. Salt is a stone. You cannot eat stones. You're not a fucking crocodile or something, or a fucking Michael or something. Religion can be anything that doesn't align with the truth. So I'm sure in the next podcast, it's going to be a lot of that. And people, you need to listen to that, because it's not going to be sugarcoating. We're going all in, and perhaps it's going to be multiple hours. We don't know exactly, but we will try to go over everything, and we hope you get a lot of knowledge from it. Do you want to say anything, Geri, before we sign off?
I'm just so grateful to have met and connected with you as a brother. I just truly view you as spiritual family. There's not many of us at this level of, I should say, wisdom. There's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. You can take in the knowledge, but you need to process it. You need to go through the trivium of input processing and then output action. You are doing that. I am doing that. People need to go through this internal process to develop wisdom, to develop right action. So I'm just honored to know you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Geri. It's the same for you. I'm very grateful for meeting you. You are one of the few people that are, they're willing to do the work no matter what, while having also very, a lot of difficulties at your personal level. You don't care. You just don't care. You love the truth more than yourself. And this is the spirit. This is what, makes me wants to fucking do something, Ultimately, as you said, we know these things. We know these things. We don't need to learn more, about these things. But the reason we are doing it because we love the truth. We're doing it for the truth. So yeah, I'd like to thank you. Thank you for being here today. Until the next time. Thanks a lot, Geri.
Thank you, Anil.
Remember, guys, government is slavery. Nature is the only way. See you next time.